Hello, my talented artists. Today, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite art forms, which is guerrilla art. It's spelled differently than the animal, gorilla. Guerrilla art is where an artist leaves anonymous art pieces in public places. Loop, loop. Guerrilla art is a form of street art, and a street art that you have probably seen is graffiti. Now, graffiti and most street art is illegal, so not recommending you do any guerrilla art in the public places like in your town, but in your house you can do some fun guerrilla art for your family, and I think that they will enjoy it as long as you're respectful. Actually, I want to take that back. You can do street art or guerrilla art outside in your community as long as it's temporary, like this one. This artist used chalk, which will just wash away. And at the end of this video, there will be more examples of temporary guerrilla art that you can enjoy. Here's another example of guerrilla art with these little tinfoil flowers that an artist put into an elevator just as a surprise. The whole point of guerrilla art is surprise attack. People who do surprise outdoor art with yarn are called yarn bombers, and they often have a great sense of humor. Some guerrilla artists really make you think, and like this example of guerrilla art. This guerrilla artist also must have spent a lot of time in their studio creating this amazing and yet maybe unusable bench. Maybe you could get inside and pretend it's a boat or something. I want to introduce to you a guerrilla artist who named himself Invader. You might want to think of your own guerrilla artist name. So Invader, when he was a kid, played a video game that looks like this called Space Invaders. He started gluing little mosaics. Mosaics are a group of tiles put together to make a picture. Look carefully at this picture and see if you can spot the mosaic invader. It looks like the little Space Invaders from that video game I just showed you. So the street artist Invader's technique is quick and stealthy. He glues the tiles onto the public spaces. Invader calls himself an unidentified free artist, and he keeps his identity under wraps, wearing a mask in public and using a pseudonym instead of his real name. Were you able to spot the little Space Invader?
Mommy's phone.
Yep, there it is. How about this next one? You found it. Uh-huh. As he got more popular, he created bigger mosaics because he actually became a pretty famous artist that people would buy his art. So now the only times that his artwork gets taken off the walls is when people are trying to peel it off to take it home because they want it in their own house. As soon as Space Invader began to get paid to put up his mosaics, he was no longer a guerrilla artist. He was a street artist because street artists get paid to create art in the community on the streets. I do have a hilarious story about My oldest child, when they were like in 5th grade, they would just draw all these little fairies and animals, and they would leave them on their desk. And one day, when they went upstairs, we heard a scream. We all ran up, and lo and behold, someone had drawn mustaches on all of their pictures, and it was very neat. And so we were very confused. I know I didn't do it, the mom, and my husband didn't do it, Mr. Cairns. So it was between the two brothers, the middle brother, who is not neat at all. He's still not the neatest, but he's working on it. And the youngest, who's very neat, but he was young at the time. He was probably 5 or something. So the 3rd grader, the middle one, we kept asking, was it you, Jonas? Was it you? And he was like, no, 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 no. Finally, he did admit it was him. And we talked like, why were your mustaches so neat? And he was like, because I wanted to draw them perfectly. So anyway, the oldest got over it. I thought it was hilarious. The oldest did not think it was hilarious. So do not draw on your siblings' art. But here's some art you can draw on that I think people will think is funny. So you can look at any of the food containers that you know are going to be recycled or thrown away, and you can add things. And when don't tell anyone, because that's what makes it anonymous. Anonymous means you don't know who wrote it because nobody claimed it. Nobody claimed that art, or nobody claimed that piece of poetry, or it got lost somehow. So we're just going to do the old familiar mustache on this leprechaun. And I think one of the things that I love about guerrilla art is the playfulness of it. That you can, it's a surprise when you find a piece of guerrilla art. We have a street artist or a guerrilla artist in Rockville, and they do this really sweet little spray paint on the sidewalk, which nobody cares to get up, and it just says, "You are loved," and it's very sweet. So here's mine. I bet my kids will think that's funny when they pull that out of the shelf. Now here's another example. Here we have this chicken stock, and I think I am going, ooh, this pen doesn't work great. One of the things with street art is trying to figure out what to use, what material, so I'm using a Sharpie, to use on the surface, because if you are working on a shiny surface like this, or like graffiti artists who spray paint on concrete walls, they have to get the right paint. Don't do graffiti. It's illegal. But you can enjoy it when you see it, because I do think that there's a lot of really beautiful graffiti. And if you ever take the train, that's like going to a museum of graffiti. You can also change the words a little bit. Let's see. We could just say, "Hi." So, and there's my little dragon, my sea monster in the soup there. So that is a really fun activity. I don't think anyone will get upset if you don't damage the food, and it's a fun surprise to find art in your house. Don't do it outside of your house, and make sure you do it on things that you know that your parents and whoever's at home, they won't get upset with you. So I think like cereal boxes, or find something like that you can draw on that will eventually get thrown away. There are so many different types of guerrilla art with all different types of materials. If an anonymous artist claims a public space, then it's guerrilla art. Murals, yarn bombs, sidewalk chalk installations, they are all guerrilla art. I just want to tell you guys that I know that you are so creative and you can think of an amazing original piece of guerrilla art. Get out your sketchbooks and draw or write out your ideas for your guerrilla art.